All right, good afternoon, everyone. Mr. Bencharsky back here. Today we're going to be working on the first social studies assignment for this term. You may have noticed that I still want you to study for your map quiz because we are going to be doing the map of Europe when you guys return. But we're going to be starting a unit on quality of life, really kind of getting some basic stuff out of the way now, and then getting into some more discussion and things like that once we get back. We watched a video on population last time and how it took 200,000 years for the planet to get to 1 billion and then 200 years to go from 1 to 7 billion. Today I'm going to be getting you to work on a sheet called a push versus pull factor sheet. Now, push factors are things that would push someone away from a country, and a pull factor is something that would pull someone towards a country. One thing you could do right off the hop is put positive and negative here. So these are negatives and these are positive factors. I put yellow here because I didn't want to, this is a good copy I didn't want to ruin it. You can write right on here. Now, what I want you to do today is to try to come up with 4 push and pull factors for each section. And I'm going to give you one example which you can use, and you're going to have to go and find yourself the other 3. So political meaning government. Okay, so I would suggest maybe even writing underneath here, government. That's what we talk about, politics or government. So what is something attractive, something negative that might push you away from a country that has to do with government? Now, you might say something like no voting. Okay, no voting. So that is something, obviously, people like to have the right to vote. And if you don't have the right to vote, then obviously you cannot, maybe you don't want to be part of that country. So a push factor would be voting rights or the right to vote. Okay, so I want you to go and try to think of 3 more things that have to do with government that might push someone away from a country or pull someone towards a country. Social has to do, there's a picture here of a family. It has to do with society, just society as a whole. So one thing that might push you away from a country is high crime. Very few people want to live in a society that has a lot of crime, okay? Which means a pull factor would be low crime. Okay, so think about our own society, the culture and the society we live in. So you might say things like equal rights or, inclusion of people, whatever you might want to talk about. But think about our society as a whole. Economic. Now, one way to look at economic is jobs. Okay, so one reason that might push away from a country is no jobs. A lot of the reasons why people travel around the world from countries all over is because they want better opportunities for work. So a pull factor would be, it could be a lot of jobs. So I want you to think about other things that have to do with jobs. Maybe it's about pay or benefits or anything like that. Or even the types of jobs that are available. Environmental, I think, is pretty straightforward. It has to do with our environment. So a push factor might be a lot of pollution. If a country is highly polluted, why would you want to live there? And then maybe over here under a pull factor, you could put clean air. Now, a country like Canada has relatively clean air compared to a lot of the large urban countries around the world. So again, environmental. Think about 2 or 3 other things that could be related to the environment that might push someone away from a country. And yes, weather would count in this. Health. I think it's relatively straightforward. A push factor could be no health care. Or maybe not a lot of doctors. And a pull factor would be free health care. I don't like the word free because we do pay taxes on it, but it's free at delivery, which means when you walk into a doctor's office here in Canada, you are not asked to pay when you leave. Countries like the US and many other countries around the world, you have to pay upon the treatment or services. With Canada, we pay through our taxes, and therefore the government gives us free at delivery. Now, other could be a lot of different things. This could be things like museums, parks, amusement parks. It could be things like lots of sports or things of that nature. People do move places for these reasons. So one thing you could put here maybe is maybe you want to put sports programs. If you're a good hockey player, one of the best places to come in the world is Canada. I'm actually going to put no sports programs. And here we're going to put sports programs. You're probably not going to go to Brazil to play hockey. You're probably going to go to a country like Canada, the US, Finland, countries that have good hockey programming. So others could be things like sports, museums, attractions, things that would bring people towards a country. Tourism is a good way to look at that one. This sheet isn't overly complicated, guys. I know some of you are going to get frustrated. You can use the internet to help you look up some things. But again, some good reasons politically. So government, what are some positive things about the government that would bring you here? And the opposite, what are some negative things that might push you away? And I wouldn't use words like good and bad. So I wouldn't put like good president, bad president. Like, what does that mean? I mean, what one person might consider good and another might consider bad. You could put, for example, a dictator. A lot of countries have dictators where there's no voting for them. Social. So again, our society, things to do with crime, with inclusion of people, with rights that people have. Okay, so that's another one to look at is rights here. Economy. So think about jobs and money. Canada is part of the G10, which is one of the 10 richest countries in the world. We'll talk more about that when we get back together. Environmental. What are 3 or 4 environmental things that might push someone towards a country, or pull them towards a country or push them out of a country? And health, again. Think about things like doctors, think about things like vaccines, think about things like we're looking at COVID right now, and there's a lot of reasons why you may not want to live in certain countries because of how they're dealing with COVID, and maybe you want to it'd be more attractive to live in others. Again, if you're getting stuck, feel free to ask me in our group sessions, or feel free to go online and do a little research and help yourself find a couple more. But otherwise, guys, I'd like you to do this directly on this sheet. It's included in your homework package, and then you can take a photo of it and attach it to the Google Classrooms. That way I can mark it. Otherwise, guys, thanks for tuning in again. If you need any help, I'm here all the time during the day. Let me know. Bye now.